Retreat. Qian Tong was taken aback, wondering why Yang Kal was so nervous. Leave. It's too late if you don't leave now. Yang Kal didn't explain, he let out a loud shout, and at the same time his figure retreated sharply. Before he left, he even tugged Lin Yuluo. Lin Yuluo was confused, but did not resist, let Yang Kal drag her, and quickly withdrew more than 10 feet away. Brother Jian. Zhao Tianze looked at a loss and turned to Qian Tong for help. Listen to Yang Kal. Qian Tong turned into a flowing light without hesitation, following Yang Kal. He didn't know why Yang Kal made such a choice, but he chose to trust Yang Kal unconditionally. Perhaps Yang Kal has his own reasons. Seeing that the three of them had already retreated, Zhao Tianze stood there hesitating for a moment before he slapped his thigh in annoyance and followed the three of them away. The scene has become chaotic. As the cracks on the domain stone mountain increased, countless cultivators were rushing forward, trying to snatch the fragmented domain stone. There were also some guys who were very shrewd. Hearing Yang Kal's cry, he noticed something was wrong, and instead of wading in the muddy water, they quietly withdrew back. If something goes wrong, there must be a monster, not to mention the fact that Domain Stone Mountain is about to shatter. Such a big change. However, there are not many such people, only 1/10, and more people are fascinated by the temptation in front of them, and they don't care about Yang Kal's loud reminder. Click. The noise continued. Domain Stone Mountain seemed to be about to break apart. Under the eyes of everyone, those cracks became more and more bigger. In the end, Domain Stone Mountain collapsed, and the huge Domain Stone Mountain turned into blocks of different sizes and scattered on the ground. But what makes everyone feel weird is that the broken domain stones are not the same as the domain stones produced in the domain vortex. Each piece is as thin as a cicada's wings. Impossible, the domain stone mountain in this region is actually empty. Someone yelled in disbelief. These fragmented domain stones have already explained the problem. If the interior of the domain stone mountain is empty, how can these fragments appear as thin as cicada wings after the fragmentation? The scene before them was like an empty clay pot being broken. This is unacceptable to many people. But even if the domain stone is as thin as a cicada wing, it is still a domain stone. After a few breaths of surprise, everyone rushed towards the front frantically, staring at the domain stones of varying sizes, and robbed them. The scene instantly got out of control. The power of various secret treasures and martial arts bloomed, and light that shone at the position of several tens of meters in the circle could hardly be seen clearly. Screams sounded. Blood splashes. Leisurely. A layer of ripples visible to the naked eye swelled from the center of Domain Stone Mountain, spreading to the surrounding at a very fast speed. All the cultivators covered by this layer of ripples involuntarily stopped their actions. Suddenly, their faces became panicked. When the ripple swept across their bodies, they all felt a dangerous aura, that was the aura of the domain. And it's a terrifying domain. The domain, which is silent and unique, seems to have revived again. No, retreat. A clever martial artist shouted. No one is going to rob those scattered domain stones anymore. Every cultivator desperately urges Saint Yuan to retreat madly. It's too late. When the first wave appeared, the second and third have followed closely behind. In an instant, countless layers of ripples visible to the naked eye filled the area of nearly 1,000 feet, and enveloped the whole 1,000 feet of the earth. The vision became blurred, and the powerful domain of the Domain Stone Mountain finally revealed its hideous face, like a wild and hungry beast, opening its mouth wide, and nearly 200 void return stage were swallowed into its abdomen. The screams from all directions made everyone's scalp numb, and no void return stage cultivator could withstand the crushing and strangulation of this violent domain, and the vigorous vitality suddenly disappeared like crushed bubbles. After the layers of ripples hit, everyone exploded and died in the miserable howling, blooming the last beauty with their own lives and blood. Yang Kal and the other four were standing at a location 1,000 feet away from Domain Stone Domain, and everyone looked forward with pale faces. Zhao Tianze's lips trembled, and the two rows of teeth collided with each other, making a creaking sound. He couldn't imagine that if he was a little greedy just now, what would happen to him. It would be the same as the person who got caught in the domain. He subconsciously looked at Yang Kal, his heart full of gratitude. Had it not been for this young man's farsightedness, this blood prison trip would be over for him. The expressions of Qian Tong and Lin Yuluo were not much better. So many cultivators, with the same cultivation realm as theirs, so many powerful existences that can initiate a charge toward the Void King realm, have fallen without resistance. These people died like ants being pinched. Their mood is subtle and complicated. At the same time, in the stone pavilion 100 miles outside the blood prison, Luo Hai, who had been sitting peacefully, got up. His face suddenly turned ugly. Star Master Luo Hai, what happened? Seeing that his face was different, the old woman surnamed Lei asked nervously. Yes, brother Luo Hai, what makes you so nervous? An old man was also puzzled. When the cultivation level reaches the level of the Void King realm, his mind must be very calm. It is rare that he will be so shocked because of what happened. What's more, Luo Hai is not an ordinary Void King realm, he is the Star Master of Green Hills Star, and he is a second-order Void King realm. Looking at the entire Star territory, apart from a few dragons who have never seen each other, not many people are stronger than him. Luo Hai's face suddenly became so ugly, and they realized that something big must have happened. Domain Stone Mountain, ruined. Luo Hai said solemnly. What? Did I heard it right? Yes, how could Domain Stone Mountain be ruined? Who did it? The little guys in there shouldn't have this ability, right? Everyone was yelling. If Luo Hai hadn't said this, they will not believe it. Even if Luo Hai said it, they still had doubts. How could Domain Stone Mountain be destroyed? Star Master Luo Hai, is this true? The old woman looked at Luo Hai solemnly. Will this king make such a joke with you? Luo Hai frowned. As for how it was destroyed, this king is not clear, but it is definitely destroyed. Everyone looked at each other, but did not question Luo Hai's judgment. He is the Star Master, since he said so, he must be completely sure. Everyone looked at each other, and some couldn't accept the result. Hey! What a pity! Domain Stone Mountain is a treasure of the blood prison. It has existed for tens of thousands of years, how could it be destroyed? After a long time, the old woman who had spoken before sighed. Although Domain Stone Mountain exists on Green Hills Star, but it can be said to be the treasure of the entire Star territory. Now that it is ruined, anyone will feel sorry. Perhaps its destruction will result in fewer Void King realm being born in the Star territory. By the way, Star Master Luo Hai, since Domain Stone Mountain is destroyed, what about the people who had been around Domain Stone Mountain before? The old woman suddenly thought of a more serious problem. When other people heard it, they all paid attention nervously. A lot of deaths. The specific number of annihilated vitality cannot be found out by T-King, but it is estimated that there are almost 200 people. 200. The old woman's face changed drastically, and she was startled for a long time before she gave a wry smile. Now, the major forces have suffered heavy losses. The blood prison smelting trial, the original fall rate is outrageous because the people who enter it are basically the third-order void return stage. No one is afraid of anyone. In order to advance to the Void King realm, they will kill everything that is blocking their way. Today, the events of Domain Stone Mountain have killed as many as 200 cultivators who entered it. I am afraid that the cultivators who entered it from some forces will be wiped out and will never recover. Everyone quickly realized the seriousness of the problem. Fortunately, the third young master didn't come this time, otherwise. The old man from the constant gathering Chamber of Commerce suddenly broke out with cold sweat on his forehead, with a look of fear on his face. If third young master Shui Yu had also come to participate in the blood prison smelting trial this time, he would also go to Domain Stone Mountain. He couldn't imagine it. Third young master Shui Yu was the best hope of the constant gathering Chamber of Commerce in the future. In the blood prison, before and after just a few breaths of effort, the chaotic world calmed down again. All the cultivators who did not retreat in time, all gone with no bones left, and the only ones who survived this catastrophe were not only 30 people. These people all heard Yang Kal's warning and retreated immediately, saving their lives. After regaining their senses from the horror, they all arched their hands in the direction of Yang Kal, expressing their gratitude. When Domain Stone Mountain is gone, they will naturally not stay here anymore, each going in a different direction, going deep into the blood prison to find their own opportunities. Soon, only Yang Kal and his party were left in this huge area. Sect Master Yang, the old man is grateful to you for saving my life, and I also asked Sect Master Yang to go to Green Water City after he is out of the blood prison. Zhao will definitely welcome him. Zhao Tianze said sincerely to serve Yang Kal. Yang Kal smiled faintly. City Lord Zhao is polite. I didn't do anything, but I will come to Green Water City. I hope that I will not disturb City Master Zhao by then. Qian Yu was still inquiring about Su Yan in Green Water City, and Yang Kal was naturally going to pick Qian Yu out. No way. Zhao Tianze waved his hand quickly. A smile appeared on his face. It is an honor for Sect Master Yang to come, so how can there be any intrusions? Yang Kal nodded lightly, looked at Qian Tong and Lin Yulao and said, "You'll be more careful next." Lin Yulao was a little disappointed when she heard what he said. "Sect Master, won't you come with us?" "No, I still have work to do." Yang Kal shook his head. The void mind crystal ordered by Kai Yu hadn't arrived yet, and the other half of monster body transformation was also held in Yu Shang's hands. He had to get that other half of cultivation technique. He eagerly wanted to develop the origin power of the golden holy dragon in his body. "Then you should be more careful. I'm afraid no one here is your opponent, but the remaining domain here is very powerful. You have to do your best," Qian Tong warned. To be continued.